One thing that blows me away with this camera is the flip screen. Like, it has a fully, like, 180-degree flip screen, and it's waterproof. So for those of you that are new around here, my name is Jakerich. I'm a sponsored travel filmmaker from here in Australia. I make content with Red Bull and a travel company called Kentucky. If you want to check out any of the content that I've done with either of those companies, you can check it up here. But today, we're going to be looking at what I think is one of the most perfect travel cameras for you millennial travelers in 2019. The one reason why I say this isn't great for my dad is because he can barely use a GoPro. And this thing, user experience wise, is a lot more difficult. Anyway, first impressions. The form factor is crazy. Form factor. It is so tiny. I mean, I've seen the RXO, the predecessor to this. Sony brought it out in 2017. And, you know, I didn't really bother diving into it because I watched a bunch of reviews on YouTube and they kind of made this product in a league of its own. They never like coined it as an action camera. They've always coined this as more of a vlogging camera of anything, or it's a professional grade camera which can kind of grade a little bit better and integrate a little bit better with those professional quality shoots. Since then, 2 years have passed and Sony have seriously got their act together, and I feel like this camera is marketed now towards vloggers. So the RXO Mark II still offers the same 1-inch Type CMOS sensor, you know, in comparison to the older RXO. Offers the same effective pixel count of 15.3 megapixels, which is massive. It's the same f4 fixed aperture. Where it differs is that it now offers approximately 20 centimeters as a minimum focusing distance, whereas the old one was 50, so you can get them 6 selfies, get right up in its grill. Obviously, it's waterproof to 10 meters, it's dust-proof, it's shock resistant, it's crush resistant, and it now offers this tiltable LCD monitor, which is freaking awesome, but the shock and the crush resistance thing only is in effect when the monitor is retracted. Other notable areas of improvement, it now has 4K internal movie recording at 30 and 24 frames a second. It still offers the 4K movie output. Image stabilization is now available for movies only. Now, I will say that I did a few tests in comparison to the GoPro Hero 7 Black, and it has nothing on that stability. But again, it's not an action camera, so don't think of it as an action camera. You have movie editing add-on capability, which is to do with the app. I've not yet played around with that. There's proxy recording on this little beast. There's also the same continuous shooting frame rate of 16 frames per second. But an area which I am really interested in is the interval shooting mode, which essentially means you can capture some time lapses, or if you want to frame up and put yourself in a frame and you don't have a buddy to take your photos, that's where that comes in handy. And lastly, it's a little bit heavier. It comes in at 132 grams as opposed to 110 the previous one. Unfortunately, at this point in time, I've got no idea of the price, but when I checked the internet of how much the RX0 is currently selling for, $879, I'm gonna say that Sony wouldn't probably want to price this camera too far out of the market. So I'd say it'd be rumored to be under $1,000, which is pretty good. It's cheaper than a vlogging camera. Like the RX100 Mark V, I think, is like $1,200. So this camera also has these accessories, which make the user experience of this camera like much better. They really improve it. So basically you get this little adaptable like handheld tripod, and it also comes with an L bracket which can screw on here so you can add in an external microphone. This little tripod also gives you incredible access over recording and taking photos just at the top here. So you can record, you can take photos, and you can also zoom in. So there is a digital zoom function on this camera, and that's obviously what this tripod is providing you, you know, ease or access to. You know, whether I like this kind of setup, I think it's pretty handy. I think it's pretty neat. You know, you can obviously, if you're wanting to put this or pack this away into your travel camera bag, you can obviously detach all the pieces. I also find this little L bracket really handy just for other pieces of equipment that I've got. Like, that's kind of how that would work. And that way, you know, it's not in front of your lens. And you know, it's pretty handy. Whenever I'm traveling, I always want the technology to be really simplistic and easy, and there's a few things which I like to have set up and know really well, so that when I am in the perfect lighting conditions, I can quickly access functions and features of my gear that can provide me with the shots that I'm after. And I've just grabbed the tripod. We are well into golden hour, baby. Oh, look at this. A lot of the times I'm traveling by myself, I like to set up my camera on a tripod, frame up, and then, you know, turn on a time lapse and put myself in the shot. The first time I tried to do that with this camera, I really struggled. I will say, like, I was just trying to get some photos of myself, and that took me a lot of mucking around. The menu system is quite convoluted. If you've never shot with Sony before, you're gonna really struggle. I always feel like I could make another video just on how to set this camera up, because I really struggled with it. You have this tiny little screen, and as great as it is having a flip screen, it's so small that I often found myself sort of really up close within the camera's range, within the 20 centimeter focus range, both whilst I was vlogging and also just trying to access the features of the camera, you know, just to change the menuing system. Unlike other cameras of this form factor, there aren't, like, you know, simple 2-button sort of process. And if you don't know what the feature FN, like function key, stands for, if you haven't ever shot on Sony, you won't know that, you know, that's kind of like your first point of reference is to hit FN. It was really doing my head in, because not only when you turn the camera on, so you turn the camera on at the top, and then, you know, it starts to show you the shot or the screen. Traditionally, like when I gave this camera to my mum, I was like, take a photo, and she was like, oh, do I just press the top there? And, you know, you press the top and you don't know what mode you're in. Like right now, if I press the top, it's probably just gonna start, oh, it's actually just shooting. So, and right now it's on like an interval mode, shooting a photo every single second, which is great, and that's what I wanted when I was doing my, you know, my sunset shoot. But then what do I do? So, I mean, intuitively I was like, okay, I'll hit menu. So you hit the menu, and that takes you to like all of the menu options. And that's all of the technical menu options, but it's not the menu of this camera. Like, it doesn't change what mode I'm shooting in. So then I was like, okay, I'll push menu again, and that just takes you back to here. So, you know, the user experience is quite challenging, and I say that honestly because, you know, for a first-time user of this camera that has no idea how to set it up, you don't know that if you hit function or that tiny FN, you don't even know what FN stands for. Function is what brings you to this system of menus, and then, you know, pushing the up and down is what allows you to navigate through program auto, superior auto, photo mode, intelligent auto, photo mode. But to get to that, like, rotating menu system, shit, like, first time users of this camera aren't gonna be like, oh yeah, I know exactly how to do that instinctively. If you were to just sort of half press on the shutter, that actually provides that tells the camera what's in focus. And I didn't know that. So straight away, you like, to get the camera in focus, if I just half press, it's actually very intelligent in a way that it even picks up where my eye is. So you half press to find the focus, then you would shoot. That's stuff, again, that like takes a little bit of knowledge and understanding to work out. Let's say that I want to get out of that. Intuitively, my mind goes, okay, so hit the menu button. I hit the menu button, that just takes me to all of the settings. So that's kind of my point here, is that you really do need to, you know, familiarize yourself with the menuing system of how this camera actually works before you just go out on a shoot. Once you know that, I think you really do have some incredible features. Now, supposedly this also pairs with like an iPhone or Android app, and there's more functionalities in the app which I haven't explored yet, and I'm really looking forward to exploring over the, you know, my next trip. I did about a 2 to 3 hour shoot playing around with the camera. Maybe 2 hours max, and the battery ended up dying. And it takes about like maybe 1 to 2 hours to charge. I don't have, like, unlike, you know, other cameras of this sort, I don't have like a big brick which I can chuck in a whole heap of batteries. So I've, you know, been having to charge these batteries through the camera individually. So that kind of sucks when I think about it. I'm sure, you know, there's probably like a dual battery charger or something you can get to charge multiple batteries at once. If there isn't, I would recommend Sony bring something out like that, because battery life isn't great. And when, you know, when you're shooting at such, you know, high frame rates, like I was doing some 960 HFR stuff with it, like it was definitely chewing through battery. And even just vlogging, you know, when you're vlogging, like, you know, you're constantly turning the camera on, you'll be talking to it, you might just forget to turn it off because you've stopped recording. You know, that's where a longer and more durable battery really does make it necessary for a camera like this to be in your kit. Other qualms that I've got with this camera, coming from a GoPro perspective and coming from like someone that shoots a lot of GoPro content, I don't like having the 35mm crop, you know, especially when I'm shooting any kind of underwater stuff. It's just so tight. You know, I personally don't like that look. I'm sure there's probably filmmakers that really want that nicer, tighter, high quality shot. But, you know, if you really want to capture, you know, any kind of motion or action, you have to have, I'd say, like a 60 to 70 centimeter like selfie stick to fit yourself in the frame. Like even holding it here, it's quite cropped, and that doesn't always appeal to me, especially when I'm trying to, like, if I was doing any point of view stuff, it's awful. It doesn't look like point of view operates on that wider angle. So I mean, maybe there's like, maybe there's in the app, there's an ability to, you know, change that field of view. But right now that's something that I just straight off the back didn't like about it. It's great when you frame up and you have that really nice 35mm frame. Like it's a really nice looking frame, and the quality is incredible. Like the shots that I took at the beach, the shots that I took in low light, shooting, you know, 15.3 megapixel raw images, like that is absolutely smashing any action camera I've ever used before. So there's definitely like a market for this, because photo quality is just stunning, is really, really good. When I was able to get the framing right in the water stuff that I shot here in the pool, like, you know, the ability to have that rain pitter patter with a really nice crisp quality color grade on this camera definitely makes this a highly valuable camera to have in your kit. You know, not that this is an action camera, this is, I'd say, a vlogging camera, but you are comparing a 1-inch sensor with something maybe 4 times smaller in what GoPro have currently on the market. So, I mean, there's just my first initial thoughts and feelings about this camera. I am super impressed, Sony. I really think you've nailed the vlogging market with this. I'm really looking forward to taking it on my upcoming travels and adventures. If you guys want to check out some of the stills that I've taken with this on my Instagram, see how they look when, you know, it's compressed to Instagram, you can hit that up. It's in the description below, or yeah, you can just go and search it. If you like this video, punch the thumbs up button. If you're new around here, turn on post notifications, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys in the next upload. JR. Peace!
And letting go.
Guys, go on.
And letting go. Okay.
I mean, it's
1, 2, doesn't matter. And letting go.
Guys, go on.
And letting go. Okay.
I mean, it's
1, 2, you had a person.